This is the Musicianship 1, Chapter 14 lecture out of the Karpinski manual. It's called Skips to Scale Degree 7 and Scale Degree 2. That is T and Re. They're called prefix neighbors. They're called prefix neighbors because what is the scale degree that comes between 7 and 2? It's scale degree 1, Do. So this chapter is talking about either Ti-Do or Re-Do. So he starts off by saying one way to describe the motion in music we have been listening to and singing is to refer to it as either conjunct, which is motion that's mostly by step or repeats, as opposed to disjunct motion by leaping or skipping. So although we have no restriction on the kinds of conjunct or smooth motion that we've encountered, the skips we've been singing and hearing all have been from Do, Mi, so far. So now we're going to practice skipping in and out of Ti and Re, and they're both going to be affixed to the Do. Okay, so drop down where it says neighboring and prefix neighboring tones. So conjunct motion can refer to motion in all one direction by scale, or to repeated notes, or to neighbor tones that embellish the pitches to which they are related to. So for example, look at this Mozart trio. It's in the key of G major. So sing this one with me. The solfege abbreviation is abbreviated in blue. Here we go. 1, 2. So, do, ti, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re. So it skips up to the G. Now here's an F sharp and back to the G. So in relation to the two G's there, that F sharp is called the lower neighbor, that's circled in red. G, F sharp, G. The F sharp is the lower neighbor. Now keep going up the scale. Now here's a B and a C and back to the B. So the mi, fa, mi, the fa is the upper neighbor to those two B's. So that's what neighbor motion is. So here we see a lower neighbor with that F sharp and an upper neighbor with the C. Okay? Now he pops down here and says, with apologies to Mozart, Karpinski is now going to rewrite this as part of the tutorial. He says, imagine if the first note of the three groups were omitted as following. Then you would have so, ti, do. So you, in other words, you would skip from the D to the F sharp. So, ti, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re. And in all of these exercises, I want you to sing along with me as the instructor for this particular chapter. So be sure that you sing along with the recordings. Okay, so we call this one an incomplete neighbor. Above it, when it went G, F sharp, G, was a complete neighbor, but here we just went half of a neighbor, so it's incomplete. Ti, do. Okay, so that's what incomplete neighbor means, and Lates uses that same terminology, although look at the red markings that I've put on the left side of this particular scan. Lates uses IN, or the acronym for incomplete neighbor, in a harmonic sense, as like a fully harmonized chord. Right now we're just looking at melodies. Now Karpinski is using this to describe melody here. So if you go to the top of the page, it says, because the neighboring tone occurs before the pitch it embellishes, this kind of incomplete neighbor is called a prefix neighbor. This is unique to Karpinski. So that incomplete neighbor that we saw on the last page in the melodic realm has been clarified by Karpinski to be a prefix neighbor because it came before the main note. If it comes after the pitch it embellished, then we call it a suffix neighbor. And 99.9% of the time, they're prefix neighbors, and that's pretty much all we're going to see, I think, in this whole chapter. So, anyway, go down to where it says skips to scale degree 7, T. So scale degree 7 can appear as a lower neighbor to Do, or an upper neighbor to La in certain cases. So let's see what we have here. There is the Arinski piano trio number 1 that we're going to sing along with. So it's in the key of B flat. So this starts on Mi, Fa. Okay? 1, 2. Mi, Fa. Mi, Re, Ti, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, So. Try it again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Mi, Fa. Mi, Re, Ti, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, So. You notice I've color-coded this. In the middle there, Ti, do is in red so that your eyeballs will see the letters. That is an example of jumping from re down to ti, do, and the T is the prefix neighbor, or at least we call it the incomplete neighbor. That's that figure. It's only half of a neighbor figure. So Karpinski says in order to auralize and perform this skip from re to ti, it's helpful to think or rethink the skip using one or both of the approaches mentioned above. So either go re, do, ti, do to make it a complete neighbor note, or just leave out the T. Re, do, like that, to find out where do is. So he's showing you down below the staff, the next to the lowest one on the bottom of the page. This is where he's turned it into a complete lower neighbor. So look at the blue lettering. Mi, fa, mi, re. This is the recomposed version. Do, ti, do. That's a complete lower neighbor figure because it's T wedged between two do's. Do, ti, do, re, mi, fa, so. So let's sing the recomposed version together. Ready, set, go. Mi, fa, mi, re, do, ti, do, re, mi, fa, so. Okay, now let's try it the second way that Karpinski recommends, where we just leave it out, okay? 1, 2. Mi, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, so. So the question I put here in red is that, I know the B flat on beat 3 is wedged between two C's that's surrounded. Would we, in this case, call it a lower neighbor? Well, that depends. In the melodic realm, which we are looking at here, yes, we would. But if that lower neighbor note was harmonized with a chord, then no, we wouldn't. So that you'll see what I mean more about that when we get to it in the Late's textbook. But we'll call it, yes, it is a lower neighbor here because we don't see the actual harmony underneath. All right, let's talk about skipping to scale degree 2, re. Now this particular Schubert example features two starred places where it's skipping from into re, and re is moving to do. So I know it's clear up in the stratosphere. Most of us are going to sing it down in a different range, okay? Sing along. Ready, set, go. Do, mi, re, ti, do, mi, so, so. Re, do, mi, re, do, re, ti, fa, so. Okay, so we had do, mi, re, jumping into ti, do, so that's your incomplete neighbor. Mi, so, so. Here's another one. Re, do, mi, re. Here's another one. Ti, re, do, ti, fa, so. Interesting. So he says, once again, a skip can be conceived as a complete neighbor. So, do, mi, re, ti, do, mi, so, so, do, re, do, like that. Or just leave it out. Do, mi, so, so, back to do, without going re, do. So both of those ways can help solidify what are the structural pitches and what are the decorative ones. And incomplete neighbors, whether they're prefix or suffix neighbors, are still decorative items. Let's move on to the next piece by Thomas Morley. And notice that I have circled starting in bars 3 and into bars 4, just the big beat notes, because at a sight read, when we want to sing it fast enough to make musical sense of it, it's too hard to calculate all of those solfege syllables in real time. So when you get to bar 3, just sing it like this. Okay. And if we had more time, we would work on the solfege. But for now, we're trying to teach something else. Okay, so start at the beginning. 3, 4. Do, 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 so. Re, mi, da, 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 so, da, da, re, da, 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 fa. Mi, mi, re, do, re, mi. Okay, so did you see in bar 2 Or we skipped from so down to re, mi, and that was a prefix neighbor or an incomplete neighbor. Re, mi, da, 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 so, da, da, re, da, 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 fa, etc. All right. So he says the skip to scaled reed 2 at the end of measure 2 is an incomplete prefix neighbor affix from re to the mi on the downbeat. So he says one way to practice it is you can just make it a complete neighbor by rewriting it. So it would sound like this. Do, 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 so, mi, re, mi, da, 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 like that. Or the second way is leave it out. Do, 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 so, mi, da, 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 etc. Okay, let's you and I sing it together one more time as we see it. 1, 2, ready, go. Do, 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 so, re, mi, da, 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 so, da, da, re, da, 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 fa, mi, mi, re, do, re, mi. 1601, that's a long time ago. That'll be 400 years in just a little while from now. Now, we are moving on to the exercises. These are called sequentials. And your homework is for you to sing along with me and record yourself singing along with me on the tape and then submit that into Canvas for your singing exercise. So we're not asking this week for an additional singing exercise. We're just asking you to record yourself practicing along with this. So I will do it once now and you can sing along, but you may have to practice it a few more times to get it to be your best submission into Canvas. So basically, this is practicing singing lower neighbor patterns, which in this case would be do, ti, do, or upper neighbors, re, do, or do, re, do, something like that, okay? So there's that part of it, which is highlighted in the red brackets, but there's also a blue portion to this where you're going to be singing the C scale, either ascending or descending along to this. So if we were in a real classroom right now, half the class would be doing the blue, do, re, mi, etc. And the other half of the class would be going rest, do, ti, do, rest, do, ti, do, rest, do, ti, do. And then we would switch parts. And then on the third repetition, we would do what you're going to be doing now. Do, do, ti, do, re, do, ti, do, mi, do, ti, do, fa, like that, okay? We'll try it a little slower. 1 and 2 and ready, go. Do, do, ti, do, re, do, ti, do, mi, do, ti, do, fa, do, ti, do, so, do, ti, do, la, do, ti, do, ti, do, ti, do, 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 ti, do. Okay, now I'm just going to play it with C's at the bottom. And we'll sing against it. 1, 2, ready, go. Do, do, ti, do, re, do, ti, do, mi, do, ti, do, fa, do, ti, do, so, do, ti, do, la, do, ti, do, ti, do, ti, do, 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 ti, do. All right, let's do letter B. This one is do, ti, do, re, ti, do. Okay, 1, 2, ready, go. Do, ti, do, re, ti, do, mi, ti, do, fa, ti, do, so, ti, do, la, ti, do, ti, do, ti, do. Okay, again. 1, 2, ready, go. Do, ti, do, re, ti, do, mi, ti, do, fa, ti, do, so, ti, do, la, ti, do, ti, do, ti, do. All right, let's do number 2, letter A. So this one is a descending C scale in the blue with a little do, ti, do pattern going in there, okay? Good luck. 1, 2, 1, go. Do, do, ti, do, ti, do, ti, do, la, do, ti, do, so, do, ti, do, fa, do, ti, do, mi, do, ti, do, re, do, ti, do, ti, do. Super fun, okay, with the drony chord at the bottom. Ready, go. Do, do, ti, do, ti, do, ti, do, la, do, ti, do, so, do, ti, do, fa, do, ti, do, mi, do, ti, do, re, do, ti, do, ti, do. Okay, letter B also has the descending scale pattern, but it's just ti, do. Okay, 1, 2, ready, go. Do, ti, do, di, ti, do, la, ti, do, so, ti, do, fa, ti, do, mi, ti, do, ti, do, Again, 1, 2, ready, go. Do, ti, do, ti, do, la, ti, do, so, ti, do, fa, ti, do, mi, ti, do, re, ti, do, ti, do. Okay, drop down to number 3. This is an ascending C scale with a do, re, do for the red pattern, okay? 1, 2, ready, go. Do, re, do, mi, do, re, do, fa, do, re, do, so, do, re, do, la, do, re, do, ti, do, re, do, re, do. Okay, again, 1, 2, ready, go. Do, re, do, mi, do, re, do, fa, do, re, do, so, do, re, do, la, do, re, do, ti, do, re, do, re, do. Second one is simpler. Do, re, do. Okay, ready, go. Do, re, do, mi, re, do, fa, re, do, so, re, do, la, re, do, ti, re, do, re, do. Again, 1, 2, 1, go. Do, re, do, mi, re, do, fa, re, do, so, re, do, la, re, do, ti, re, do, re, do. Okay, hang in there. I don't know why this scanned ginormous and the other page didn't, but it's probably easier to read. So now we're descending with the scale while singing do, re, do on the top. Let's try it. 1, 2, 1, go. Do, re, do, ti, do, re, do, la, do, re, do, so, do, re, do, fa, do, re, do, mi, do, re, do, re, do, re, do. Again, ready, go. Do, re, do, ti, do, re, do, la, do, re, do, so, do, re, do, fa, do, re, do, mi, do, re, do, re, do, re, do. Again, go. Do, re, do, ti, do, re, do, la, do, re, do, so, do, re, do, fa, do, re, do, mi, do, re, do, re, do, re, do. Letter B is also a descending scale with just re, do. Okay, ready, go. Do, re, do, ti, re, do, la, re, do, so, re, do, fa, re, do, mi, re, do, re, do. Again, ready, go. Do, re, do, ti, re, do, la, re, do, so, re, do, fa, re, do, mi, re, do, re, do. Let's jump to number 5, letter A. Hopefully you guys have seen the Muppets. I know you weren't born when they originally came on in the 70s, but they keep replaying them over and children continue to love them. But it sounds like the Swedish Chef guy with the me, that kind of stuff. The sequential is mi, re, mi, re, mi. Okay? Let's try it together. 1, 2, 1, go. Do, mi, re, mi, re, mi, re, mi, fa, mi, re, mi, so, mi, re, mi, la, mi, re, mi, ti, mi, re, mi, do, mi, re, mi. Again, 1, 2, 1, 2. Do, mi, re, mi, re, mi, fa, mi, re, mi, so, mi, re, mi, la, mi, re, mi, ti, mi, re, mi, do, mi, re, mi. Letter B is one note less. It's just re, mi. Hopefully this will be easier than the last one. Letter B. 1, 2, 1, go. Do, re, mi, re, mi, fa, re, mi, so, re, mi, la, re, mi, ti, re, mi, do, re, mi. Again, 1, 2, 1, go. Do, re, mi, re, mi, down to 6A. This one's really hard because it's going to span a leap of a tenth by the last bar from do up to mi. And I'm not a singer, I'm a pianist, and I know many of you are not singers as well. We're not judging on the quality of your screeching. This one is going to be high, and we're just going to screech it out together. If we were in a real class, the vocal majors would cover the rest of us up and it would sound lovely, but that may or may not be the case depending on what your specialty is. So don't worry, just sing on pitch. That's what we really care about. So you've got a descending scale in the blue with mi, re, mi at the top. All right, let's try it together, but we're gonna go slower on this one because it's a lot harder. Okay, so there's your pitch. 1, 2, 1, sing. Do, mi, re, mi, ti, mi, re, mi, la, mi, re, mi, so, mi, re, mi, fa, mi, re, mi, mi, re, mi, re, mi, re, mi, do, mi, re, mi. Well, I gave it my best shot there. All right. Let's do it again. Gluttons for punishment. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Do, mi, re, mi, ti, mi, re, mi, la, mi, re, mi, so, mi, re, mi, fa, mi, re, mi, mi, re, mi, re, mi, do, mi, re, mi. And last but not least is letter B. Just a descending scale in the blue, and the red sequential is re, mi. Again, way up in the stratosphere. Give it your best shot. Okay, ready and go. Do, re, mi, ti, re, mi, la, re, mi, so, re, mi, fa, re, mi, re, mi, do, re, mi. Again, ready and go. Do, re, mi, ti, re, mi, la, re, mi, so, re, mi, fa, re, mi, re, mi, do, re, mi. So again, your assignment is to record yourself singing along with me on all of these as a practice, so that we know that you actually went through the sequentials. Not only do they train your pitch and your intervallic sense of awareness, but they also train your mouth to say these combinations of solfege syllables. And of course, I'm editing out all the tongue-tied attempts that I had, especially on 5 and 6. My tongue got tied and I had to do each one like 3 times. So hopefully you understand that that's part of the normal process. It's just training. It's like learning a foreign language. You just have to train your mouth to say the sequence of syllables. So good luck. Have fun.